Welcome to Fred Talks on the Shy Podcast. This week we got no other than the Chairman Fred Hampton Jr. We talking about his father's death, police brutality, George Floyd, the state of Chicago. Man, if anybody can articulate this thing with a past, present, and future view, vision, it's Chairman Fred Hampton Jr.
Chairman, we go way back, man. We've been long knowing each other. Oh, man. Time go by so fast, man.
You better tell how old you is, man.
Yeah, I know, man. From Flintstone to Fred Jr. to the Chairman, right?
It's going stages.
Yeah, man. So we're gonna jump right in because we don't have a whole lot of time. I know there's a lot of topics that a lot of people want to hear you talk about. So we'll jump right in. So Fred Hampton Jr. being the son of Fred Hampton, right? So a lot of the younger viewers here don't really have a perception of who Fred Hampton is or was, right? Mm-hmm. And so you were in your mother's womb when he was assassinated, right? And I don't use the word killed. I use the word assassinated. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And he was a part of the Black Panther Movement, right? So and again, we're talking to some younger individuals here. So if you can kind of walk us through as to what was the Black Panther Party about, why was it started, and what was its inception like?
Well, a lot of younger people in particular, but people in general, what are not familiar with the history of the Black Panther Party. It's not by happenstance. This youth, I was speaking at a school one time. The school, ironically, the school was named Winnie Mandela, and I was going through history of who Winnie Mandela was. By the way, condolences. In fact, her Nelson Mandela's daughter just passed a few days ago, the youngest daughter, I believe. But I just, a youngster at the school had said to me, and I'm paraphrasing him, he's about 13, 14. He said, man, he said they kill people like you. He say, that's what happens to you. So I just want to preface with that. There's a reason. It's not just by happenstance why people are not familiar with the Black Panther Party. The Black Panther Party was a revolutionary organization. We're told more of who to speak about, who as opposed to who not to know about. The Black Panther Party became an international organization. It was started October 16, 1966 by Minister U.E.P. Newton, Chairman Bobby Seale. The largest chapter ended up subsequently being the state of Illinois under the leadership of Chairman Fred Hampton. A lot of some of the Black Panther Party survival programs, such as, and I emphasize this, the first free breakfast program. They fed a minimum of 3,500 children a week. Now, this is prior to the public Chicago public schools even having a discussion about free lunch. It was actually Chairman Fred who authored the Rainbow Coalition. And mind you, this was in a city that was, and for all practical purposes, remains to be one of the top segregated cities in the country. So the Black Panther Party was an organization that dealt with the race and the class contradiction, and it was a revolutionary organization. Contrary to a lot of the misinformation, the propaganda, whether it be through the schools, the media.
And so, am I correct? It was the Black Panther Party for self-defense. And what was the self-defense part for in the name?
The initial name was the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense. This is the name which was sparked in response to the rampant police brutality, which we refer to as the police terrorism, that the Black community in particular was subjected to. We've seen a major case out of Richmond, California, that of Denzel Dow, in which the Black Panther Party, it came and politicized and organized people. In fact, Minister U.E.P. Newton said that we must even politicize the gun. In other words, what made our gun unique? What made the gun different from the police's gun? And the self-defense, it was some of the responsibilities that came with that is that when the police came, when they came through the community, contrary to what we see in the white communities and other communities where it was actually happening. When they would go to other communities, that wasn't fictional about getting cats, saving cats out of trees and officer friendly, so on and so forth. But the police then, as well as now, operated as an occupying army. You know, in other words, I mean, there can be similar conversations with the Vietnamese people, you know, saying during the occupation of Vietnam, Philippines, Africa, so on and so forth. And the party would tell you, lay out to the people what you were responsible to say, what information you had to divulge, so on and so forth. And that was, again, that was the initial name for the Black Panther Party for self-defense. It later dropped to self-defense. And it was a political organ, a political organization.
And so, what were the steps or the mantra or the motto of the Black Panther Party?
The Black Panther Party, again, it was a revolutionary organization. It was armed with a 10-point platform. It was armed with an ideology, a platform in which addressed the basic needs and aspirations of the people. It broke down in plain layman's terms, you know, just contradictions in the community, ranging from, you know, in particular, that of the call for the end of, which was referred to then as police brutality, decent housing, decent education, basic needs and aspirations of the people, all a plebiscite. Which really was like for a call for a vote, you know, for the people themselves, because contrary to what many people believe what a revolutionary organization was and is, it was not a dictatorship. It was not going out saying that we're going to tell you what the people want. A call for a vote, a national vote from the people. What do you see? What do you need? What do you see is needed for the community? Also, mind you, at that particular time, the draft. The draft was a phenomenon. You may hear about different stories about individuals being draft dodgers. You know, so in fact, it became a phenomenal discussion on the position taken by Muhammad Ali, which he basically assessed that he could not relate to going across seas, going to Vietnam. You know, what I'm saying, and fighting some yellow men. You know, what I'm saying, for some white men. They addressed it. Not only did the Black Panther Party address it, because you had different anti-war people who took against the military, against the war, so on and so forth, that may have took a liberal position, but the Black Panther Party had even upped the ante to the point where we've seen such forces as Deputy Minister of Health Ronald Doc Satchel with the community in Vietnam, with the work about the free medical center the Black Panther Party had, correlating to, in fact, Minister Huey P. Newton, they went so far to say the victory for the Vietnamese people. In fact, there are some famous pictures of Minister Huey P. Newton doing the V sign. A lot of the anti-war activists, similar to today, a lot of people come in, they hijacked and co-opted certain terms. Many people just say it meant peace, but it was actually Minister Huey P. Newton, it was a position of V for victory for the Vietnamese people.
Oh, that's interesting. So, you know, I just want to be sure that I heard you correct. When you said that the chairman, Fred Hampton, was one of the starters of the free lunch program, which we now see throughout Chicago public schools and abroad.
The Black Panther Party had survival programs, and we've seen in Chicago, as well as any other colonized community, where, you know, Black children in particular, their grades were not up to par. Many people took a reactionary position, you know, similar to today, where a lot of people have reactionary responses about the crime, the killing that occurs in what is infamously referred to as Chirac. And a lot of people have an issue with that term. You know what I'm saying? We don't. In fact, the Black Panther Party Cubs, our position is that, you know, we add on to the old saying, which says God created Africans and America made niggas. The machine, the man in the machine manufactures Chirac. So what you're seeing is done by design. But it's an emotional issue. So a lot of people, they would like a reactionary quick fix to just say simply black on black crime, or even to say senseless violence. Similar to that of the children going to school and grades not being up to par. It was saying all type of excursion futilities, reactionary discussions. It starts at home. You know what I'm saying? Negating a basic dynamic, a basic contradiction. That being any child, whether it be black, white, or whatever color, that's, you know what I'm saying, that's going to school hungry, it's hard to focus on, you know what I'm saying, nouns and verbs, or, you know what I'm saying, multiplication. You know what I'm saying, that basic dynamic. And the Black Panther Party just didn't say it. They didn't engage in what Chairman Fred referred to as intellectual masturbation. In other words, a bunch of talk. They organized the Black Panther Party first free breakfast program, which fed a minimum of Chicago of 3,500 Children Week in Chicago alone, you know what I'm saying, and got the people involved in these programs. These are not programs for charity, but the people came there and they supported them, condoned them, endorsed them. The Black Panther Party subsequently turned these programs over there to the people. You know what I'm saying? And we see different state institutions try to come in and adapt it, to take it, you know what I'm saying, co-opt it, you know what I'm saying, but the deal is Deborah Johnson, not known as Akua and Jerry, the widow of Chairman Fred, as she had said to some individuals who was trying to, as we say in the streets, false flag with the Black Panther Party name. The Black Panther Party often imitated but never duplicated.
So with all of this, all of the great things that you're saying that the Black Panther Party was doing, why wasn't it accepted by the government, you think?
And that's something that many people take for granted about that dynamic of self-determination. There's certain things, like, for example, like, even this is no slight, saying, even we're setting up this show for us to do this interview. We had to go through certain struggles about, just even the title of Chairman Fred being put on there correctly. We had to go, what I'm saying? And this is a revolutionary organization that, following its own terms, that many people have an issue with. Really, there's a reverence for it. And they're saying in theory, but in practice, there's a reverence for it. You see, I recall we correcting some reporters at Chicago Defender newspaper for referring to Chairman Fred's wife as his girlfriend. The Black Panther Party took a position that we're not going to challenge the city hall on Monday, and then on Tuesday say, okay, can you validate our relationship? In theory and in practice, they, the titles, the terms. I recall having a discussion with Bernadette, Irish Republican Army, and she said to me, she said, I remember you as a child. I remember this chain you had on you. It was a bullet as a baby, a bullet on the chain. But she said, your titles of your organization, the terms. She said, Deputy Minister of Health, Doc Satchel, Chairman Fred Hampton. This is not no ego tripping, but a lot of like subconsciously, like I tell people, you can, people they will acknowledge the monikers or nicknames for hip hop artists of religious institutions. Hypothetically, just say, okay, this is Professor such and such, and this is Reverend such and such, Minister Huey P. Newton. Even if it's subconscious, people say Huey Newton, because because politics impacts your hearing, impacts your vision. The Black Panther Party was a revolutionary organization that stood up on its own terms and fought on its own terms. A lot of organizations, they may fight and they may gain certain ground, but it's still done in the confines of the system, telling them, this is what you can say, this is your spokesperson, this is your speech, go by this rule book, go by this Robert Rules of Order. And then on the other hand, you have some people that move in a reactionary way. They just say, well, I'm just mad. But the Black Panther Party was a structured, organized political vehicle that, that had survival programs that served the people, but was armed with a politic on its own terms.
And so we're talking about in the 60s, moving toward the late 60s, and we know during that time there were a lot of other movements in LA as well as in Chicago, but particularly in Chicago, when you think about the street organizations that were starting to evolve. What was the relationship between the Black Panther Party and the street organizations, to name a few, the Stones, the Vice Lords, and the Disciples during that time?
It's a dynamic. The more as I organize and learn today, a lot of people, are really not equipped to really, dissect it. Not the delicacies of that, of taking a phenomenon. And as Minister Huey P. Newton said, that power is the ability to define phenomenon and make it act in desired manner. Power is the ability to define phenomenon and make act in desired manner. Now, a lot of people look back and just take the relationship that Reverend Nat Turner had with the church, and they look at it reactionary, or this man just snapped out. But Reverend Nat Turner was a realist. He defined the phenomenon of the church. Harriet Tubman defined the phenomenon of the Negro spirituals. It was a real defined phenomenon of even the organization in the city that, again, was and remains to be, for all practical purpose, one of the top segregated cities in the country. And he defined it. He won, and came in respectfully, won certain forces, certain points of unity, recognizing that there were even class contradictions within various respective organizations. And it wasn't just, it humors me sometimes when I see people try to assess some of the Rainbow Coalition. Like, it's just this, like they just came together and just started singing Kumbaya. You had for example, even with the race contradiction, the Young Patriots, a group of young white cats out of the Appalachian Mountains who were so reactionary at one point, they were wearing Confederate flags on their jackets. You had, you had the Blackstone Rangers, before the Black Disciples, the Devil Disciples. You had contradiction with the FBI. Had proposed to the vice lords that they would give them 16th Street, a portion of the west side of Chicago, if the Black Panther Party was not able to open a free medical center on 16th Street. Chairman Fred was able to win these very forces at certain points of unity. There were different points, acknowledging, taking into account different contradictions and what points of unity. We say to people, politics is like real estate, timing, location, all that. What may be a good deal on the house today may not be a good deal next week. You know what I'm saying? What forces to dialogue with today may not be a good force to dialogue with tomorrow. So it was a constant, having this ear to the ground, which forces to take with them. You know what I'm saying? And again, it could have, with any phenomenon, whether it be hip hop, it can go either way. It can be a double-edged sword. And we've seen cases where in the penitentiary, the concentration camps. We've seen cases on the streets where the government tried to use a phenomenon against the Black Panther Party. You know what I'm saying? We've seen the infamous letters that the U.S. government authored, and the fictitious letters, and they sent to the Black Panther Party saying that this came from Jeff Ford, Chief Malik, Chief Malik, and vice versa, trying to create antagonistic situations.
What was in the letter? I read it, but for those who don't know, what was the letter saying, and what were they trying to brew up? And when I say they, it's the government.
There were a number of different letters, but one in particular, one of the most famous letters was where the government had, authored these letters and said something to the effect that, some to the Black Panther Party, some to the Blackstone Rangers, prior to the Black Peace Stone Nation. Well, I'm just a brother in the neighborhood, and I see that these guys, these Panthers trying to take over they have for themselves, trying to take over the territory, and vice versa. And when the Stone said this, so on and so forth. You know what I'm saying? But again, this is a true. But Chairman Fred, again, and it's important to note that to acknowledge in the community something that the system plays off and many people fall prey to is not acknowledging that there are contradictions in our community. You know what I'm saying? Contradictions. You know what I'm saying? Whether it be the Crips and Bloods, Stones and Disciples, whatever the case may be. But the ruling class, they give the impression that they don't have any contradictions. You know what I'm saying? But nothing can be further from the truth. You know what I'm saying? However, they find points of unity and they acknowledge those contradictions. So again, the Black Panther Party, you know what I'm saying, we approached the community as realist, recognizing there are contradictions, and so the state cannot exploit them to the point that they become antagonistic contradictions. And we've seen such cases where points of unity, again, with the vice lord subsequently working at the Free Medical Center, the Devil Disciples, they become the Black Disciples, the Free Breakfast Program, the membership and representation of solidarity at the funeral for Chairman Fred, with the Black Peace Stone Nation, the Black Disciples. So even, and I'm gonna quote the government, because a lot of times we don't believe nothing is true or factual unless we say the white man said it or the government said it. But the government itself said when the Black Panther Party was in existence, there was a record low to what they referred to as black on black crime.
That's interesting. And so it seemed like once the organizing started to get really, really big, and a lot of people started being members of the Black Panther Party, whether directly or indirectly, because I met a few older brothers who were part of the Stone Rangers, and they said that they peace stood for power. They would call themselves the Black Power Stones, right? And directly spoke really, really highly of the Chairman Fred. And so a lot of Panthers started getting arrested and even gunned down. Is that correct?
No doubt about it. That's important to note that the repression, because the movement just didn't die away. You know what I'm saying? That's like, that's kind of like, people just say, people just ended up from Africa and just fell off into America. You're negating a major contradiction. You know what I'm saying? The deal is there was an attack. There was a program in this documented program, Cointelpro, then Director of FBI William Sullivan, created by the former Director of FBI J. Edgar Hoover, a program which the government itself said in their own words was created to discredit, to destroy, to demise, dismantle any Black nationalist movements, especially amongst the youth. Over 90% of that program was directed at the Black Panther Party. And it's consisted but it was not limited to. The straight out assassinations, as we've seen, April 6th, 2 days after Dr. King was assassinated. We've seen the forcing of individuals to political exiles. We got some forces to this day, Silas Shakur and others still in political exile. We've seen the mass kidnapping. We've seen the trumped up charges back to back. Me and one of the comrades from Illinois chapter, Comrade Stan McKinnon, was just dialoguing today earlier, just going through the back-to-back time of the dates on the hits that was going out on Illinois chapter alone. And a lot of people play Monday morning quarterback. They look back, oh man, you should recognize this person was an informant. Well, the Panther Party should have done this. And say, a lot of these cats think they had cell phones back then. But the counterinsurgency, the constant, kicking through the doors, locking up, framing, kidnapping every day, trumped up charges. You know what I'm saying? The economics alone. A lot of people say, we just gotta get our money together. And we tell people, I see they trying to starve us out, like the Black Panther Party Cubs right now today. You see other people benefit, get resources that, that after work that we on the ground doing. And we recognize that we like the last call for alcohol. In other words, we the woman in the lounge that you don't see until the condition gets so intense. You say, who is that right there? So we out here, whether it be come on the bus, serving the people with the Black Panther Party, I'm telling you, Lou Palmer talked about. Lou Palmer said, his wife, Georgia English, he recalled, or really wanted to see about how he looked at the Black Panther Party, to write about it. He said he remember a situation, the Black Panther Party had all the free clothes. As soon as they got stuff stockpiled at the Black Panther Party headquarters at 2350 West Madison, the police, they come in, they would torch it. They burn it up, burn the papers up, burn the clothing up, burn the donations up. And so it wasn't just a case of people. We talk about DeMarcus Garvey. He was an organizer, but you have to acknowledge the attacks that he was up under. A lot of people ain't getting no heat, not getting no attacks. So you may think they just successful. They say they money, they work well. But the attack, over 90% of the Cointelpro program was directed at the Black Panther Party. And sad to say, true to say, right now today, the Black Panther Party Cubs, the attack it's so crazy in some scenarios, even the names ain't changed. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the house, the campaign we involved in right now, I got to stop to say the Hampton House. The house which Chairman Fred Hampton grew up in. We've been fighting to save his childhood home. We didn't have to contend with athletes and actors, different bogus groups call themselves, gun clubs and using Chairman Fred's name. And no disrespect to you, I just had to correct you about a shirt. You know what I'm saying? They got these cats call themselves the Uncrowned Kings. We refer to them as the Unclowned Kings. They can go on YouTube and type in Chairman Fred Jr. shutting down contraband clothing. They'll go out and take and use it. This individual who had Chairman Fred's picture on it selling a shirt. It's on YouTube. Type in Chairman Fred Hampton Jr. checking contraband clothing. And then when the heat come down, we catch the heat. But these individuals, they profit off of our pain. So this is all part of Cointelpro. Like you said, some of the individuals, although they were not Panthers, but they were some different organizations taking a progressive stand. On the other end of the spectrum, all police don't wear uniforms either. There are, there are certain individuals that are, whether it be naively or nefarious intent, they're working into the counterinsurgency.
So let's move right along to what was the climate before Chairman Fred was assassinated here in Chicago?
It was a climate where the class peace was shook. It was shook. I'm talking about, it was when I say class peace, that you had class peace under the tenure of President John Fitzgerald Kennedy, where, where the attacks were going or happening. And the Black Panther Party was talking about it, but a lot of people were so, caught up. They didn't see the army tanks, coming down the south side of Chicago, going throughout Detroit, Michigan, and the authorizing attorney to put a wiretap on Dr. King's home. They didn't see these different dynamics. But the Black Panther Party was, who was even when it was not popular, was out there, laying these countries out. Similar to today, the Black Panther Party Cubs, we've been talking about the contradiction that people are coming to grips with right now. So when that climate, under the tenure after Kennedy of Richard Milhouse Nixon, under the campaign, what they call the Campaign for Law and Order, it's similar to today, which is the under the tenure of U.S. President Donald Trump. A lot of people would be reactionary. You have to watch who has been consistent when it's not been fashionable of hiding these contradictions, putting in context about what's going down. You know what I'm saying? So the climate, there was an acknowledgement. There wasn't people saying, well, I don't believe the police done that. It was up front. You know what I'm saying? You see, I mean, the movies were different. The street, the name was just, again, you had the black, as opposed to Blackstone Rangers, the Black Peace Stone Nation. You had the Black Disciples, the Vice Lords. It was a discussion. Chairman Fred would say the best dressed brother was one with a leather jacket and 45. It was no negating what was going on. There was the terms, people liberating. You see a different dynamic, it wasn't this trivial conversation. You know, it wasn't that elementary. People talk, oh, how this person look or whatever. The conversation with sisters and brothers. It wasn't cool telling you, you know what I'm saying, you finna rip this sister off, you finna hit this brother's crib. You know what I'm saying? It was, in fact, a Chicago police himself had said at one time, he came to Cabrini Green in the early 1970s. A 3-year-old child said to him, tell me, a few minutes, said to him, Pig, what are you doing in our community? You know what I'm saying? So it was a climate that, you know what I'm saying, that, again, that people were acknowledging this contradiction, you know what I'm saying? And even the police, when they, with the assassination, Chairman Fred, out of their arrogance, they weren't going to leave the door open. And the lines were being drawn. It was up front, you know what I'm saying? People would be, you know what I'm saying, in everyday conversations, the music. Marvin Gaye it was a climate where Marvin Gaye was able to go against Berry Gordy and the gangsters who really ran Motown Records and say, I'm going to put this song out. What's going on, whether you like it or not. It was a climate where James Brown had a whole totally different song playing at first, where A-Trap Brown, I know as man Jimmy Lalamine, drove down on him and said, man, you better go back to the studio with that garbage you talking about. He came back out to him, I'm black and I'm proud. We drove on Kanye West before he said about George Bush, not liking black people. 8 hours before he said that. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of people couldn't relate to it. Now, right now, with this climate of coronavirus, the climate of recognizing that death is a reality, it's a different type of conversation.
So I think what a lot of people, don't realize is all the great work that the chairman Fred Hampton did at such a young age. How old was he when he was assassinated?
He was, again, I want to preface with this is not by coincidence that they don't know. You know what I'm saying? People, a lot of people scared to talk about it. When Chairman Fred, before he was Chairman Fred, the FBI had put a wiretap on the same house we're trying to save right now. The same house, the Hampton House, 804 South 17th Avenue, Maywood, Illinois. I got to put it in there, the GoFundMe.com/Say the Hampton House 50, Cash App Say the Hampton House. That same house, when he was 13 years old, Washington, D.C. FBI called to put a wiretap on that telephone before he turned 14. They seen him take the junior NAACP from 7 to 300 members in 7.5 month time period. When they gave him a trumped up case, say he took $71 of ice cream from the Good Humor ice cream truck and gave it to the children. A brother who we just lost recently with the Stones, he said he done the case. He told him he done the case. They said no, they gave Chairman Fred that case. Send the state bill, they don't send it to Menard. You know what I'm saying? They target when they call for that wire, and we talk about it. We're not trying to be into ego tripping, or you know what I'm saying. But the deal is, it's important that people know that they can relate. That you know what I'm saying. We had not role models, but we had real models. People who came from our situations. The day after they assassinated Chairman Fred, the police came. People pulled the guys out their house in Maywood and told them there'd never be another Fred Hampton. The way that they assassinated Chairman Fred was done in a strategic type of way, similar to the way doing on the plantation. They didn't just go out there and kill an old sister who ran away from the plantation. If she was pregnant, they went and got her. They didn't kill her out there in the fields. They brought her back, put it in front of all the masses, in particular the children, took this pregnant sister, slit her pregnant stomach open, shook up generations to come. People say, well, a lot of people don't know about the Black Panther Party. It's not by coincidence. They punked a lot of their parents out. They spooked them. The police came out there chanting, Chairman Fred is dead. It's a war tactic. They knew to kill, they knew to lock up. When Genghis Khan with the Mongols went through China, he didn't kill all the Chinese. He took out certain ones and he raised up certain ones. They took out certain individuals of the Black Panther Party and they raised up certain ones. It's a war tactic.
You kind of broke up, just the listeners again. How old was Chairman Fred when he was assassinated?
Chairman Fred had just turned 21 years old, August 30th. Defense Captain Mark Clark had just turned 22 that June before he was assassinated. This was Deborah Johnson, just turned 19 5 days prior. Doc Satchel, Doc Satchel, right? These were teenagers.
And that's your mother, right?
That's my mother comrade. That's the widow of Chairman Fred Hampton.
You said something that was very interesting about his organization skills, and like I said, I've been knowing you for a long time, and even in the institutions or or the other plantations, as you would call them, I saw that you were even organizing there. Do you feel that was something that was embedded in your DNA from your dad?
No doubt. I recall even before seeing footage of Chairman Fred. I recall even being in one of the places, because Chairman Fred was in Menard in 1969. I was there in 1999. And I met some of the same individuals. I remember they renamed me Deja Vu. They said, "Where you at?" When I got to Menard, I was taken and put in isolation. The Warden Page, soon as he seen me, they took me to SAG for having a Chicago Sun-Times newspaper reactionary, so racist. He said, "Lock that vice lord up." This is Warden Page. So they took me and they placed me in isolation. And I remember brothers down on the next gallery. "Chairman, where you at? Your father was here in North Seg over here." I said, "Yeah." And some of the same guys today say, "What floor you on? Your father's on that floor." I said, "Whoa, y'all get me a little too close now." So I remember even when they framed me, gave me the case. Michael Tooman gave me 18 years. One of the potential jurors had said, "That's his son. Why we got to go through the trial? Lock him up." And so but I don't want to just say DNA alone. I definitely I learned certain things. Second, even the organizing, his objectivity. I see that, and I learned more about him more. And I've been fortunate and unfortunate enough to come into a lot of situations where the names have not even changed. I found later on it was by Sergeant Joseph P. Grubezek, who gave this the same one who was involved in surveillance and assassinated my father, Chairman Fred. So some of the same players, you know what I'm saying? I had some of the same issues, even on the streets with some, you know what I'm saying? Some of the same individuals, offspring, and you know what I'm saying? And we made some monumental moves, you know what I'm saying, together. So it's a lot of similarities, but again, we know things are constantly evolving and constantly changing and constantly born and constantly dying and disintegrating also.
So I remember previously in the conversation that you mentioned something that I think we really should speak on, and that every movement that has been successful has been started by teenagers, right? And so in today's climate, a lot of the same things, if not all of the same things, are still happening when you think about police brutality and the social injustices that are going on. What would be your thought process of talking to these young brothers about how important it is to organize, and what's your thoughts on that?
Well, I don't want to relegate it to that, just that of the youth. I want to put in that absolute, because we have cases of North Carolina Deacons of Defense and so many other forces too. Today, Fannie Lou Hamer, Mississippi, Dallas County. It's cases, and again, we even in the ruling class, they don't see the system get us caught up with these absolutes, like, okay, the men and the men against the women, the young against the old, so on and so on. The system, their position is whatever they got to do, whether they got to come through Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump, whatever the case, the agenda is going to be represented. The Black Panther Party seized the time. It was the time, the location, everything was, and they studied the phenomena, and it was I make a joke about it, how certain, even certain chapters had to pop up before other certain chapters, because so that way the government couldn't get a head start up on them, to see what he was going with this here. You had a dream team, and so but the government also made sure that certain forces were not out. Minister UEP knew the Field Marshal George Jackson never met face to face. They were several cells apart, locked up. The time when Minister UEP was released, after Chairman Fred was assassinated, me and Sister Comrade Daphne, we make a joke about it, like, man, woo, if Chairman Fred would have got his hands on Tupac, it had been on and popping, So they study different dynamics. If this person connects with this person. So, but even even in the streets, like this brother we just talked recently, known as Big Law in the streets. I had opportunity to politicize him. We went to certain points, and we even gave him the name Little Bobby Hutton. after, after Bobby Hutton. And even Chicago sometimes say he was assassinated. And that's, and I've seen what the politics have done with so many forces, including myself. The politics, I spoke at the funeral services of Tookie Williams. We went and did our own thing. We went to Lemur Park. Tookie Williams grew up in a climate deprived of organizations such as the Black Panther Party, where the only options in life are given to individuals to become a Boy Scout or a banker. So I studied, like when I'm in New Orleans, I branched down there, coordinated Troy. We studied what's phenomenal with the second line. South in the favelas in Brazil, I chapter there. So we study the people, we listen to them, and we don't cut no corners. We acknowledge the contradictions. We talk with the music, whatever. We take certain phenomena. We seen how we flipped the script on that Keith, the Chief Keef, the CHEEF. Catch Keith song I don't like, how he flipped it, and the police started harassing them youngsters when they seen the version we came out with them. You know what I'm saying? So we do that with G Herbo, went to certain points of unity, and not just our heads above them and engaging in dog more elitism. That's our office. The Black Panther Party Cubs, the streets is our office. Our work hours are 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Our secretaries are them brothers and sisters you see out there on the street corners. Our work hours 24 hours a day. Again, our desk is on gangways and alleyways.
So to wrap it up real quick, what are you doing now, Chairman Fred? And what exactly is the Cubs?
It's the organization that's carrying the legacy of the Black Panther Party. We take the heat and attacks all with it. It's ironic. It was some guys was making a joke about it other day. Some cats were saying, "Damn, that's crazy," because it was like some slander on the Black Panther Party Cubs, and ironically, it was saying the individuals was the offspring of who the state used before, Juan Karanga in L.A. You know what I'm saying? Some of they actual offspring. You know what I'm saying? It was like whoa, it's like how spooky it is. The Triple C's, the Children Community and Cubs, every Saturday. We in San Denis, France. Our deputy chairman Franco just got locked up over there for some protests over there. We in Sao Paulo. We in Gary, Indiana. We at the Hampton House. The free food, not charity, but politicizing the people. Triple C's, Children's Community and Cubs, Freedom on Radio, done in the spirit of Black Panther Party Intercommunity newspaper every Wednesday. Myself and our co-host, Lady of Rage, Freedom on Radio, and we spell it incorrectly intentionally. Freedom on Radio. We putting the word out on international level from Ghana to Ireland to inside what's going on in the penitentiaries in Mississippi. Putting the word, updating people. What's the campaigns going on? Right in the Hampton House, fighting to save the childhood home of Chairman Fred Hampton, the house that Chairman Fred Hampton grew up in, right across the street from his elementary school he went to, fighting to maintain the institution, and we checking and making sure we their legacy, cross them T's and dot them I's. You know what I'm saying? Like I just said, we don't care if it comes a movie or if it ain't done, if it ain't checked in, we own it. A legacy is more important than our life.
So if it was one thing that you would like to leave our listeners and our viewers with today, what would that be?
Support your troops. Support your troops. I mean, I know a lot of people they might go off to somewhere else. But don't wait till the Black Panther Party Cubs become a safe discussion. They put Muhammad Ali on the Wheaties box in the late 80s. I said, why was you an athlete back in the 70s? Why you just put him on there now? And the representative of Wheaties said, we're going to do it now because he's safe. Don't wait till Chairman Fred Hampton Jr. become a safe discussion. Don't wait till the Black Panther Party become a safe discussion. We serve hot meals and give hot politics. We give it to you right now. We need to seize the time. We need the people's support. We need to say to Hampton House, you know what I'm saying, get in contact with us. Again, we're 804 South 17th Avenue, Maywood, Illinois, 60153. Get us a cash out, save the Hampton House. We need the support of the people. Support your troops.
Man, I really want to thank you. You've always been, right on point and exact. Always shoot straight from the hip as well as from the heart. And as your brother, I really want to thank you for taking this time out to join us. But you have to give us one promise, man, because we couldn't cover everything that we needed to cover, man, in this short period of time, man. And once this virus and whatever it is, it's over, man. We would love for you to come out, man, and give us in our youth and our elders, a real class on the Black Panther Party and what they meant, and then and now, if that's possible.
I look forward to it. Now, I'm going to be critical of you now. Why I take somebody from Oakland to come in and talk the interview up now? You supposed to got me on this thing now. You know what I'm saying? I love you. I'm going to be critical of you, know what I'm saying? So, but hey, I'm open. Anytime you call, I'm now. I'm there. You know what I'm saying? Again, I tell people say, man, what Chairman Fred at? Man, he ain't hard to find. Where he at? This is my addiction. The people. And I ain't trying to get no rehab for it. I'm hooked on struggling for the people. We hooked on it.
Okay,
Brother Ali.
Yes, sir, man.
Yes, sir.
It's very enlightening, man. I initially want to say once again, man, we appreciate you coming through. We got some questions from the audience, man. But when I say the spirit of your father resonates in you, man, I watch his videos and I see a man with so much promise, and I feel like part of his blessing was you. You know, and you come with a strong passion, and everything I've ever heard was that, man, you always been for the people, man. So, may your legacy continue, and we're gonna go to the people, man. Brandon Moss, come on, brother, what we got?
Yeah, how you doing? Man, it's actually an honor to even be on here with brother Fred Hampton Jr. because I remember running into him a lot down there on Madison a few times too. You know, just been around, whatever. You know, but one thing I always want to know, and it's crazy, I didn't even know we was actually gonna do the Career Talks with you today. But I was telling Brother Ali earlier, I was just talking about the fact how they had the, you know, the day he passed, how they had the bullets. You know, the bullets saying that it was shots coming out of the house. And if you look closer to the pictures, it was just like circles of nails. You know what I'm saying? Like, as far as the exit wounds. And one more other thing I want to ask you: why was the Fed so critical on the Panthers and the street organizations really getting into it, like having a war?
Say the last part again, my brother. The last part of the question.
I said I really want to understand, like, why was the Fed so in depth and so just stuck on the point of the street organizations getting into it with the chairman?
Okay, good question. Okay, right on. Let me okay, we go right there. Yeah. Okay, let me say this. First of all, Carl, I appreciate you. Let's struggle, my brother. Let's struggle to even, it's like a cleansing process. You know, even our terms, you know what I'm saying? Like even like when we say like the chairman, that it's not ego tripping, it's official validation. It was a big thing with a lot of people, with Jay-Z had said Fred Hampton, he arrived the same day Fred Hampton died. And a lot of people say, Chairman, you should be happy that this famous rapper is mentioning your father's name. We not cut from that cloth. We, you know what I'm saying? Chairman Fred was assassinated. He didn't pass away. I spoke in DePaul University. This young lady, she said President Kennedy was assassinated, but Fred Hampton passed. It devalues what happens to us. So we have to call it for what it is. It's brutal terms or brutal realities. Even Alcoholics Anonymous say the first step in addressing the problem is recognizing that we got a problem. You know what I'm saying? They called it for the word. It was an assassination. The lawyers are saying, don't go on, don't open the crime scene. The Black Panther Party said, no, come up. We want the people to come up here and see what's going on. Call the question. Call it. That's knowing is half the battle. The cardinal principle of warfare is to know thyself and know thy enemy. They got us, you know what I'm saying? This is our time right now. Let's call it for what it is. You know what I'm saying? Call it for what it is. Reason again about the potential, the latter part of your question, the politics. You're saying, like even with the gun, they call it the Mulford Act. The Mulford Act on the Senator Mulford was really the Panther bill. Once they started politicizing these cats, it became a problem. You seen the heat start coming down. You know what I'm saying? When he did a song with Nicki Minaj about Chirac, they got more airplay. When he done a song, but he said, what about Fred Hampton for president as opposed to Donald Trump? That didn't get no airplay. Yep. So you know what I'm saying? The deal is they know what the Panther Party know, what the Panther Cubs know is the potential power of the people. We are pregnant with potential, and we trying to midwife. We working as midwife. We trying to birth this baby. And you got all type of dynamics with the system trying to cause an abortion. They trying to cause a miscarriage. And a lot of people come in, they're reactionary. They look at our people as a one-night stand. They come in, they talk, they do some murder mouthing. They use different names. You know what I'm saying? Take chairman name, the Black Panther Party name, throw it out there, one-night stand, procreate, leave some babies there, they gone. And, you know, we in this for the long haul. And they knew Chairman Fred wasn't playing. They knew to kill. They knew to lock up. They did psychological profile. Same thing cats do on the street. Cats say, who is that? Don't put it on him, he ain't playing. They knew who was serious. They know, you know what I'm saying? The deal is we got to be clear on that.
Thank you, Mark. So let's be clear, family. Everybody here, we know your family, but let's be clear. The title and the position of chairman is earned. It's been earned. People, blood has been shed for it. It's deserved. It's well deserved. So let's keep that in mind. Chairman Fred Hampton. Question for Chairman Fred Hampton Jr. From Antonio. Let's go. We hear you, Antonio. We hear you.
Okay. I was just wondering what your thoughts on the Black Lives Matter movement compared to the ADOS movement, and which one is really supporting the guidelines or the struggle that the Black Panther Party put into motion?
I think a lot of times we set ourselves up with disappointment. See, Chicago was real. I ain't set tripping, man, but I tell you, I'm from Africa. I just raised, I'm raised in Chicago, but the structure. See, structure. You have these disappointments. We keep on. I don't understand. We have an organization that's laying out. You know what I'm saying? This is the Orange County legacy. It's like we keep on looking at what about? Okay, somebody say this is making grandmama's meals right now, and then somebody said, well, what do you think about McDonald's or Burger King? They make, you know what I'm saying? How about making grandmama's meals? They said, listen, man. I just told you this lady right here. She's sweating. She's doing the same type of cooking. There's no slight on the other dynamics. Let's acknowledge that so we don't become disappointed. In structure, it identifies these kinds. Like a lot of people say, the word sellout is one of the most overused terms. People come in and they set themselves up for failure. Oh man, such sold out. They never said it was on what you thought it was on. If an individual go to the pet store and buy a goldfish and throw a leash and a collar on it and wonder why they ain't barking, that's on you. That's on you. They telling you this what this is, man. These organizations tell you what they own, but no, man. It's like a relationship. Sister get over the guy, he said, listen, I ain't talking about no serious thing, or vice versa. Okay, we just hanging out for a minute. Oh, I can't believe this shit, man. That's acknowledging for what it is. When people say this what this is, man, this organization, man, our position is, man, Black Power matters. That's the power of our lives. There's no slight. If that's your cup of tea, so be it. See, structure. This guy called me one day from Baltimore. He called me, he said, man, I'm watching this TV show, Chairman. I thought you said there weren't no snitches in Chicago. I said, I didn't say that. I said, I told you we don't call them no gangsters. This is a structure. After Hurricane America, y'all might call it Hurricane Katrina. We call it Hurricane America. Brought 5 families back from New Orleans. The sister said, you different from the rest of the preachers, the pastors. I said, first of all, I had to ride down here to come down and get our people. We on some whatever vehicle, so be it. Brought her back. The manual year this was. Took her back. She said, she pulled me to the side. She said, listen, my mama ain't never been to Baton Rouge. Mama ain't never been to New Orleans. I'm concerned. I said, what's the issues? What is it, sis? Dope or crack? She said, dope. I don't know where my mama at. I said, give me 20 minutes. I came back with her mama in 22 minutes. I said, in this city here, it's a structure. We know where to go. You know what I'm saying? We have contradictions. So they tell you this organization is this, and the writing be on the wall. Acknowledge that. We can go up in McDonald's. Hey man, I want to order my grandmama's her macaroni and cheese. I want her cabbage. Huh? Oh, y'all bogus, man. Y'all messed up my grandmama's meal. They tell you what this is. So you have these different organizations. We acknowledge it for what it is and move accordingly. No disappointments.
Okay, thank you. We got another question from, who we got, man? Okay, this is a question, anonymous. And before we go there, I want to say this, man, because one thing I recognize is that when we're talking about a movement like Black Lives Matter and All Lives Matter, if you look at it, the Black Panther Party spoke on, all power to the people years ago. So when I hear you talk with so much passion about certain things already being laid out, and then also how millions of dollars being funneled to certain people, but here we trying to save the house where Fred Hampton was born and raised, but if it was Abraham Lincoln log cabin, we wouldn't be having that kind of problem.
Come on, man. Yes, sir.
So we definitely need, the people that's online, we definitely need to make sure we get that cash out and make sure we can do whatever we can to promote the saving of this house, man, because that's not. And I think you also haven't said that the house is a museum and you can walk over and actually see certain artifacts that ain't gonna be seen nowhere else. So I think people need to know that as well. So so let's go. You say, what are your thoughts on the recent rise in children and innocent bystanders being slain recently in Chicago?
Not only in Chicago. Not only in Chicago. Let's deal with Chicago. Let's deal with it was infamously referred to as Chirac. And reflect. The deal is, man, the politics gives you my sanity. I mean, man, what's been done? I mean, you look at the ingredients that's been put down on these children in particular, man. The recipe for destruction. You know what I'm saying? You really should be surprised a lot of these cats ain't resulted to cannibalism, man. Real talk. They never to say that, man. This is the different dynamics. If you put Martians in a position that was happening in our communities, man, and you see, create chaos and restore order. It's certain forces. They talking about even just, it was a case of a story on the Animal Channel, and the elephants were going through musk. They were teenagers. They were bumping each other. They were challenging each other. They weren't no bad elephants. They weren't because they was Capricorns. It was a natural dynamic with these elephants. They brought one male elephant, just put him there. His presence alone tempered the other elephants. Certain people release pheromones. Men release pheromones. Ain't no ego trip. It's a reality. You see today, Larry Hoover, chairman of the Growth and Development, going for parole hearing today. You know what I'm saying? So you hear some cats, you say Chief Malik, certain names, you can see certain cats, they backbones, they lift up and straighten up. When you be deprived of certain individuals, it's a war tactic. You know what I'm saying? A child told me, man, I'm telling you, man, this guy about 14 years old with that same school I told you I was speaking at one time. He raised up and I thought I addressed him after we got clear. He said, man, he had tears in his eyes. That was on 71st and Jeffrey. Winnie Mandela, I'm in flashbacks on the right now. It was named Winnie Mandela. This young cat, he came in, he got to feeling himself. He was going through them elephants go through called musk. He was feeling himself. Mm-hmm. So I gave him that deodorant. When I got him clear. I ain't talking no physical that tighten him up. Yeah. No, I know you know, brother. I know you know. But you know what I'm saying? They think that deodorant means you got to tighten them up all the time. But just the presence, just the discussion, just the relating to him. He teared up. He said, man, you the first man I've ever met. But he also told me later on, 30 minutes later, he said, they kill people like you, man.
We got a question, man, from the brother Edwin, man. Edwin, come on, man. Hit us with something, brother.
Yeah, good afternoon, y'all. Chairman Fred, much respect. This is Edwin. I'm coming to you from LA. Tapped in through George at SF State, man. I always love hearing you. So
yeah. Yes, indeed.
It's always love for you. You know that.
Right on.
I've always been in tune with what you're talking about. They create chaos and restore order, and that's where we're at right now. We're at chaos with COVID. We're at chaos with financial crisis. We're at chaos with just the continued assassinations of folks a different color, right? So now, how can we, as different groups, right, that see this and want to stand up for our people, right? I know what you're doing with the Triple C's out there in Chicago. Salute that. You know, we got something similar going on over here. We feed the community, right, through organizations like Homies Unidos. It's real dudes from the block feeding people on the block. So how do we tie that movement? And I know it's different what's going on in Chicago. It's different what's going on in LA. So what's going on in every other place, right? But we got a lot of similarities. How do we tie that? And then let's us restore some order to some capacity. Maybe it's some at the policy level. Maybe it's some on the block level. We get our people right? Because we got to educate, organize, and arm, right? I hear your dad's speeches a lot, and that shit sticks with me. Educate, organize, and arm the people, right? So how is it that we together can restore some order for our people in LA, in Chicago, in Oakland, wherever it be?
Right on for your call. I think we should let the record reflect. You done see me in action. You done see me in action in the hoods of Chicago. You done see me in action in San Francisco, LA. You done see me in action in the hoods of Chicago. You done see me in action in San Francisco, LA. I've been in the Merck Park, all over. We've been in Standard Rock, North Dakota, with the Native community, Indigenous community, right there. Former coalition. Just recently in Chicago, with Chirac, with the Black and Brown community. Matter of fact, in LA. That was me and Immortal Technique. They had the Black and Brown Unity Tour. They're down there. And we say the time, we addressed it as realists. Right in Chicago recently. Like man, it's like a relationship. I said, hold on, not yet. I balanced who I met with, before me and King Tony, like King, before we had our dialogue on Instagram. Every meeting I go to, I don't care if it was black folks, brown, whoever it is. I don't come in with no foregone conclusions. I'm gonna come out alive. They gonna come out alive. I don't care if it's got the same family members. We gonna hide some contradictions. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no. Oh, I don't want to hear that part. It's like you gotta be willing to throw up. It's a lot of stuff that people don't want to see come about. Oh man, I ain't know that part. I ain't know such and such. We gonna lay all cards on the table. Whoever it be, you know what I'm saying? In fact, the lines of distinction, demarcation had to be drawn. Whose interest do you work in? Because see, everybody don't want this violence to stop. They think I don't believe that, people just once you read a book to them or give them some green juice or dashiki, they're going to start, getting online. We have to come in willing to be very clear there are some casualties in this war that's waged on us. Cut no corners. I don't care who people. We do these campaigns by police kill somebody in their family. They say, Chairman, how you know which person the news gonna work? Which uncle gonna sell out? Which auntie which mother gonna work a deal? I study my own family. I don't cut no corners with nobody. You know what I'm saying? So we convey with Chairman. Chairman. They tell us you got to combat liberalism. You know what I'm saying? Heighten the contradiction. And the deal is people become conscious or get involved in struggle one of three ways. One is this the reality. Inspiration, aspiration, or desperation. See all that stuff they talk about in the American Revolution, Patrick Henry saying, give me liberty, give me death. That might have been a few cats saying that. That wasn't the consensus of all of them. You know what I'm saying? The deal is Thomas Jefferson said, 1/3 was for it, and 1/3 went whichever way the wind blew. And we gotta come in with that acknowledgement and that reality, you know what I'm saying, of structure. Some forces can play. Chairman Fred knew who the Paper Panthers was. He knew who the Rally Panthers was. He was a realist, and we got in our community. Man, and all this abstract momentum, we gonna come together. We all gonna be together, same ideas. We gonna hug. Man, when you come out from Utopia, let me know. I'm gonna be right here in Chirac on the ground dealing with the real world. I'm gonna be right here in LA in the community with the people dealing with dialectical materialism, dealing with real deal contradictions. That's what we gotta come with. Because anything less we come with simple race nationalism. Simple, you know what I'm saying? Just simple, not addressing the class contradiction. It's like bringing a butter knife to a gunfight. Them cats, they ain't got no butter knives. They being armed. Norfolk Railroad giving them youngsters, man, heavy AK-47s. You can't come with nothing but the real.
Salute and thank you, man.
Man,
thank you as always, man. Good to hear your voice, man. I'll see you soon. I'm getting back that way. So get back that way soon, man. Real talk.
Tap in. It's all love always.
All love. Right on. Yes, sir. Free them all.
Appreciate you tuning in all the way from LA, man. We appreciate that, Kelly. Man, with this thing growing bigger than we thought. But I also want to, before we wrap up, man, just a note for some of our participants out there, man. The fact that Chairman Fred Hampton was murdered, not by one, there was something put in his drink, that before he laid down a sedative that was put in his drink before he laid down with his wife, pregnant wife. And two, when he was shot, the last shot, the kill shot, was done by a black police officer by the name of Gloves, right? And we talking about somebody that stood over him and actually did it and said, now he dead after that kill shot. We talking about a revolutionary gentleman that put his life on the line knowing that he had a child coming, knowing that he had a wife that he loved, knowing that he could easily be quiet and live what we know today as a peaceful life if he chose to be quiet and he chose not to do that and he put his life on the line. That's why we got the one looking to trying to support the house. Two, looking to see what we can do to even support the Cubs, the Black Panther and the Cubs movement, because we got to be a part of something that's really, you know what I'm saying, that's champion for us and, you know, the power to all people. They came with a solution. I'm not saying you join or whatever, but I'm saying do your research on what's the history of certain things so we know how to navigate through life in our situation here already. Chairman Fred Hampton Jr. Man, listen, brother, you deserve the title. Your father deserved his respect and his legacy. I appreciate you for coming. I know I speak for the Craig family, man. We appreciate your wisdom. And like my brother Curtis Toler said, man, we need you to come in, stop in, and talk to our guys, man. You need it, and we got to have you, man. We need to protect you and make sure you safe. And I also want to add this, man. Man, your father tombstone gets shot up on a regular basis, man. I don't think people even understand the deep hate that people got that they shoot up this man tombstone on a regular basis, man. So, and this is just hateful, man. It's something we got to stand up and let it be known. We ain't gonna tolerate a lot of this stuff, this madness that's going on, not for the people and the legacy that your guys like your father had. So peace and bless to you, brother, and I hope to see you back, man. Yes, sir. What's the radio and what's the radio stations again?
Freedom Radio, live intellectual radio studios. Every Wednesday, Freedom is hosted by myself and Lady of Rage. Every 6:30 p.m. Central Time every Wednesday. Y'all, you know what I'm saying, tune in with us, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to y'all. My brother Kirk, you know what I'm saying? Appreciate y'all, man. Real talk. Rashina, you know what I'm saying? Help facilitate this here thing, man. Hey, man, let's make history, take history, and take history, man. Save the Hampton House, man. Support your troops, man. The Cubs are coming. The Cubs are coming. The Black Panther Party Cubs are here.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, man. Y'all have a great day, man. Chicago Crib next week, same time, same place.
So you're right.
Peace.
Yes, sir. Bring them all, power to people.